Just gonna give myself a little bit of wiggle room at the beginning to make sure everything's still working.
Perfect. You know what? Can that be where we cut in?
Sure.
Do we even need to clap sync this time? I think that suffices.
No, we have to keep the tradition.
Right. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right. Well,
We've done
welcome
worse.
to. Oh, you want to do the intro? Okay.
I know it, you do it.
No, you just interrupted me.
No, you.
Okay, guys. You know what? We're not going to have an intro this episode because we're going to assume that you've listened to the previous ones. And if Jake talk.
Isn't this the best way to come back after 2 weeks after having not done anything?
They
for
don't
2
know
weeks
that.
prior? Yes, they do.
Oh my God.
That's according to the upload schedule.
We had.
We didn't do anything
oh,
last week.
God. Yeah, we had the other one that we uploaded.
That wasn't last week, was it?
I'm pretty sure it was last week.
No, no. No, because that was...
My established universe is imploding on itself.
Just... You know what? I'm not even going to make the bad segue.
I knew you were going to
I'm
try to
not
make a segue from
even going to.
that. You know what? That shows improvement and restraint. I respect that in a man. But,
You know where
Yeah.
I think we should start?
what? What do you think? Also, by the way, I'm Corey.
I'm Jake.
We're a Pixel Venture podcast. But continue. What were you
And
saying?
I am back from college. And I'm back home.
Yeah. You're back in the same town as me, except next to me, and not the same town.
Yeah. Fun Town Splash Town.
USA.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've finally been done with that. And you're still in school.
Well, technically I'm done with my spring semester, but the summer courses I'm going to be taking are starting very soon.
Oh.
So I have like a 7 or 8 day grace period before I start to cry again.
Yeah. Like, I have no idea when people get out because Emerson got out on, like, the first. Or, like, technically
Yeah,
the second was, like, the day. The second was the day we were, like, you have to be out. And, like, no one else gets out that early.
Yeah, like when I was telling you, yeah, I'm in my finals week, you just told me, yeah, I've been here for a week. And
Yeah.
that made me a little sad because I was like, you could have told me, we could have hung out.
Yeah, like, you get back, like, or, no, you're already, like, done with the year, and then, Tim, one of our friends, Tim, got out, like, this week, and then
Yeah.
our friend Ryan is out the week after. I have no
You
idea
might
where
remember
Ethan
from
is.
episode 11.
One of the Asian nerds.
He likes the Chinese cartoons with moon runes and anime fishbowl eyes.
No, it's the Japanese cartoons.
That was really unfunny, so let's move on.
Gotta cut that.
No, we're not. We're going to keep it.
Wow.
Because if I have to deal with this pain, everyone else has to. I'm very tired, by the way, audience who is listening. I kind of wanted to record this tomorrow, but I don't know. We're doing it now.
I mean, you said, hey, do you want to, like, do it tonight, or,
Here,
like...
well, here. How about this to spice things up? I have a bottle of hot sauce at my desk.
I have some water with ice in it so that I can cool down.
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna like drink this hot sauce for a hot second and see if that wakes me up. And if it doesn't, then I'll just be sad and tired.
So, Corey, what did you think of Endgame?
You caught yourself.
It didn't
but,
even work. It doesn't count. I didn't fix it. What did you think
You're
of
like,
Endgame?
Oh man. Okay, so
Spoilers, by the way.
yeah, it's important to say. But the Russo brothers said that their like sort of embargo on spoilers is up, and it's been up for about a week, I believe, at this point. So pretty much, if you haven't seen it and you're still listening to this, then you're willingly like putting yourself out there for spoilers. Hell, if you're on the internet at all. So here's just so you know, like this won't be the whole episode. So right here, here's a timestamp of where you can skip for when we switch topics.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're going to get into sort of the nitty gritty about what we thought of the movie.
Yeah, and here's gonna be the timestamp of when we spoil Detective Pikachu.
Well, we'll put that there, like at that time. And for the people who haven't seen either movie and don't want to be spoiled, the last 5 minutes sure will be out of the park.
Oh, will it?
I promise.
Great.
Also, I had a little bit of the hot sauce.
How'd that go?
It's not good, but I'm a professional, so we're going to get this going.
Oh,
So-
it's like that video we made that no one knows about because we never finished it.
Yeah, people could have continued to not know about it if you didn't mention it.
Now they know of it, but they'll never know what it was.
Yeah, because we'll never release the footage. I think we lost it too, so
No, we didn't.
I told you to burn it. Anyways, end game. So I have an unpopular opinion, and I'm ready for people to get angry at me. I don't think it's as good as a lot of people are making it out to be. Not to say that it's a bad movie in any regard. There's a lot of things that it does right and a lot of things that I enjoy. But it's not really close to being my favorite Marvel movie. And I have like some reasons that I can get into if you want.
I mean,
For one-
that is part of
Oh,
what a
go ahead.
discussion is.
Yeah, well, for one, I personally feel like there's a lot of, like, the ways that certain characters are portrayed in this movie are very one note. Like, my biggest complaint as far as, like, how the character was written, because it's not particularly the actress, because I've seen this actress in different roles, and I've seen her ability to act, and she is really good. But the way that Captain Marvel has been portrayed in the MCU, I really don't like it. Because she's like, her character is supposed to be cocky, supposed to be like brash when it comes to stuff. But she's just a jerk. Like, belittles all the other problems that are going on and exists purely to be like the most powerful hero or whatever. And I think a character archetype like that is really bland.
Yeah.
Like, also, as far as other character things go, I personally am in the camp that Spider-Man didn't really need to be in the movie. I mean, looking back, like, before I kind of said that to you before the podcast, one could argue that it was important because of, and, oh, hey, look, spoilers for the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer if you haven't seen it.
Spoil the trailer. Okay.
Well, no, because literally there's a spoiler warning before the trailer starts. But, like, Tony's death really hits Peter hard. Like, changes his mentality when it comes to superhero stuff and, like, everything that's going on in his life. And, like, one can argue that him seeing his death, like, being there in person, was the thing that, like, made Far From Home happen. I don't really know if I personally support that. I feel like just having Tony die in general, whether or not Spider-Man was there, would have, like, it would have still hit him hard. Because, you know, you have the mentor sort of father figure in Tony. And then, like, having that be gone. Hell, I feel like Peter would be more destroyed if he wasn't there to see him. Because then that way, there isn't that, like, moment of just being, like, being like, "Oh, you're going to be okay. You did great. You did it." Like that kind of thing. And Peter would be like beating himself up about maybe not being able to save him. Well, because I mean, no one could have saved Iron Man from what happened. But like having sort of like the guilt trip that Thor had throughout the movie.
Hmm.
I really hope you remove that gap of time, and if not, I want you to slowly zoom in on your character.
All right. Did
I
you
think that
did,
would
did
be
you want
funny.
me to take over?
Well, I was hoping to like hear more of your opinion because, like,
On
again,
on
don't get
just
me
like
wrong.
everything in general,
Um, I
or
mean, you can kind of hit some of the points that I did
yeah,
and add your own and things like that.
I
I
would
feel
say
like that
like
would be
I would say like with the
good.
Spider-Man stuff, I kind of liked that he was there because um I feel like it just kind of added to like, I mean, if he wasn't there, how do I want to word this? It's like I feel like it was more impactful because he was there.
Hmm.
And I feel like him like seeing Tony die and like being there to like say goodbye like would have been more impactful than just like him hearing about it from someone else. I feel like it almost would have like made it more real for him to be like, "Oh my god, like he is actually dead."
Hmm.
Not that like he wouldn't believe it otherwise, but like it kind of hits him a little bit harder that way.
Yes, I
And
see that.
and I feel like having him not be there for his death, like it can definitely be powerful, and it can be the kind of thing of like, like it can have a very emotional impact, but I don't think that's the kind of emotions they're looking for Spider-Man,
Hmm.
because that's more of like a regret thing rather than like a, oh, like there was just no way I could have been there. Like a lot of the times when I see that used in like, movies or TV shows or whatever, it's usually when like it's when that character's choices led them to being away, and they kind of like it was their choices that led to them not being there for that death.
I don't
And
know.
that's usually like what it is.
I just felt like watching that exchange between the two of them, like I understand that the way that this movie is supposed to be viewed is you watch Infinity War and then immediately go into Endgame. Because originally the whole movie was just that huge, like 6 hour sort of edit.
And
But
from another perspective, let's be real, Spider-Man needed to be there just for the action scene.
yeah,
Like
I
I don't think anyone else would have been able to like pull off what he brought to it between what was it called, like the like insta kill mode or whatever, kill
um
on sight,
kill mode. Yeah, the
kill mode, yeah,
with
that
like
thing.
the ultimate Spider-Man sort of legs.
Yeah, between that and like him like awkwardly introducing himself to Captain Marvel,
Okay.
which
Oh,
is
oh,
who's
if
definitely
we're
my least favorite character.
if we're gonna talk about that scene, can we talk about how fucking pointless that was?
It was pointless, but like it's a Marvel movie.
But
It's been
like
setting
we
itself up as like,
already know that the women in the movies are badasses. Like we've had so many
oh,
movies
you're
of
talking about that scene.
yeah, like okay. So for those of you who need their memory to be jogged, when Spider-Man is sitting there with the Infinity Gauntlet and he's surrounded by enemies, they like Captain Marvel comes down and he's like, "Oh, hi, girl," and that's exactly how Tom Holland sounds. Don't worry, you don't have to pull up any side by
Yeah,
side thing. That's exactly his voice. But and then she's just like, "Hey, bienvenue, Power Bottom. I need that glove." And he's like, "Oh, okay. What are you? Who's going to help you with it?" And then all of like the girls from like all of the Marvel movies are like in front of him, or like the ones that like
no,
are
pretty much all of them.
well, they're already like pre-established badasses in their movies. Like it's almost like them being like I know what they were trying to do, but it was so on the nose that it made that scene feel tacky.
Like, I think I even brought this up with you. I would have rather they just did like a montage of like each of them doing their cool shit. Like,
Yeah,
you don't need to like you don't need women's assemble to
they
like
didn't
show
they
off
didn't
like, yeah,
need
women are powerful and like do like, no.
yeah, cuz like
Just show them being cool.
yeah, there's a difference between like, actually having a um like a message to say and force feeding it to the audience. Like the things that I like the most in movies is like one thing that I don't actually enjoy too much with a lot of Marvel movies. Like there's a few that are definitely exceptions, but there's a good chunk of Marvel movies where it doesn't like they don't assume that the audience is going to think that they're going to go in and just basically view it the way that a Michael Bay fan would view his movies. And I know that's a bit of a bash to him, but I really don't like his work. But because they don't like think the audience is going to think deeper about certain ways that scenes are working. Of course, like again, that's a generalization because I know that there's general audience and then there's the fans and there's other groups that go to see it. But like just purely speaking, general audience who goes because they're like, I like Iron Man. I thought the movies were cool. Not like the hardcore comic book people and stuff are just going to go and see things that are flashy. And I guess that would be why the directors were like, we have to have a shot where all of the female characters stand together for like about like 10-15 seconds while swarms of these aliens are around them and could easily rip Peter apart while their backs are turned to him. Like, also, when it's like a scene like that, it removes me from the movie. Because, like, when that happens, pretty much all I can think of is that's a movie poster. Like, they did that pose because that's going to be, like, someone's background on a computer.
Yeah, like basically like it showed, I don't remember like what the order was, but like it showed one, it might have even just been Captain Marvel. And then what's her name? Pepper joins in, and then there's like
Yeah, because she has the suit that Tony was making her.
yeah, that they hinted to near the beginning of the film, which was a nice touch. But like it was, I forget, like again I forget the order, but like it was by like the third woman that I'm like, wait a minute, they're going to show all of them, aren't they? And I'm like, yep. And there's the one from Ant-Man, and Drax's girlfriend, that one too. Great.
You can say whatever the hell you want, but the Wasp is a badass character, and I love her.
Yeah, but you don't need girl power though.
Well,
Like
again,
just show them being cool.
like I enjoy it when a film can tell me that a character is badass without being like they need to do this dramatic pose and have like this shot, like this dolly zoom that shows like how grand the battlefield is and how cool they are. Like
Yeah.
like I already know that because that's the thing is that this is the final battle. We've had 11 years with all these characters. Well, for most of the characters and everything, but you know what I mean. Like we've had this huge span of time to basically be like, yeah, these characters are badasses. They do what they have to, the way they need to, and then it's just like, okay,
Or you could pull a Captain Marvel and rush them to being the most powerful things in the entire universe, apparently, because why not?
again, I personally have like nothing. I have nothing against like the writers of Marvel films because like obviously they know a winning formula of like how well like the films have performed.
They
But
do, but I personally, not to speak from any kind of like high and mighty knowledgeable position. I just don't think she's written very well. I just really don't.
Well, she's written like she's pretty compelling in the comics because like actually
Well,
given
those are the
attention.
comics.
Yeah, given attention to character development and stuff. But in the
Like
movies,
in
like-
this, like sure, I haven't seen Captain Marvel, so I don't know like the full backstory beyond
oh,
like
you don't don't
beyond
even
like
need it.
beyond like what a video essay on YouTube told me, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to see it or not.
I can tell you
I
the
don't think
entire
I don't
movie
think
right now.
we're already spoiling like two other movies,
Well,
and I don't-
literally. Okay. Well, hey, here's a spoiler for Captain Marvel. Can we just have like a bunch of movie posters that just say spoiler warning on them, like on the screen?
sure.
Yeah, like as we mention it throughout the episode.
Mm-hmm.
You can leave a message like, "But I'm already doing that." That's what you sound like post edit, Jake.
Yeah, that's exactly what I sound like when I'm editing.
You can cut this part, but I would love if you just inserted like a voice clip of you going like, "I don't sound like that," or something.
Nah,
like that.
I've got to keep all of this in so that the audience can think that we actually hate each other behind the scenes.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's actually wow.
We'll be the next JonTron in Game Grumps.
Oh my god. No, I don't want that. Well, there's already, you know what? That's something we can talk about at the end after.
It could be worse.
this
We could
and-
be the next Pro Jared.
Oh my god. Okay, we're going to save that for after, like talking about this in Detective Pikachu.
Anyway, like
'Cause I
what
have
I don't
opinions
like
on
what
that.
I don't like about Captain Marvel, getting us back on topic.
Well, could I quickly like tell you the movie thing? Because
Sure.
like I said, so pretty much the entirety of Captain Marvel is like there's this guy. So there's this training montage with her and like this guy, and they're like, you have to keep your emotions under control. Stop relying on your powers. But the thing is that her powers are overpowered, and the way she's written, she barely has emotion. So like, cool, she's already at the place that you need her to be at the very beginning of the movie. But then she crashes a blockbuster, meets Nick Fury prior to the eye patch, and then like there's these like body morphing aliens, and the movie ends, and it's definitely like an empowerment type thing of not like specifically for girls in particular, but I feel like anyone where it's like yeah, you can get hurt, but you got to pick yourself back up, like you know the generic like sort of like superhero thing where it's like they always keep fighting kind of thing. And the thing is that she isn't overpowered in like the movie or like throughout the movie until like the very end where she learns to like use her powers, actually like fights effectively and everything. And she's actually like, while her character is pretty bland, she's at least entertaining. I will say that the main villain overtakes everything in that film, because like halfway through it's like, oh yeah, I'm not actually the bad guy. The guy that you work for is bad. But like he's such an entertaining character. But basically, you don't really need to watch Captain Marvel to understand her character that much. Basically know that she is a human who got alien powers because she destroyed a machine that was supposed to allow people to like jump through time space. And that's what gave her abilities.
I do have one question about the movie that is important to her character and Endgame.
Yes, the cat is an alien. What?
No, I already knew that.
Yeah. Shut the
How
goose.
did she find Iron Man?
Okay.
That's
So-
never explained in Endgame. She just shows up.
Because at the end of Infinity War, the pager that Nick Fury was using, the one with like her emblem
Yeah.
on it, at the end of Captain Marvel, she gives him a pager that's modified to the frequency that her tech uses,
Yeah.
and says if there's anything that's like life or death, like end of the world type problems, page me. and
Yeah.
I will be there. And
Yeah.
the mid-credit scene, I believe, of Captain Marvel, it's the scene from the trailer of Endgame where they're all like standing around and seeing all of the disappearing, like all the people that disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, I believe Thor just turns around and immediately Captain Marvel's there and she asks, "Where's Nick Fury?" And that's it. Because
So how'd
she
she find Tony?
Oh, because well, she reunites with the she unites for the first time with the existing Avengers, and they're like, oh, okay, find a random person. It's never explained how she can find Tony.
Exactly.
Literally,
To me, she's introduced as a Deus Ex Machina that finds Tony somehow right before he's about to die from lack of oxygen in like a day after being out there for weeks. And then she brings the entire ship back to Earth, which had to be a far way away if no one could have found him.
yeah.
Which, like, sure. Like, it starts off like, okay, she's Superman. But, like, then her attitude just does not help her, like, in the slightest, in my opinion.
Also, there's another little detail with the ship that also like pissed me off.
Oh?
When you run out of fuel in space, you're not dead in the water. You're still moving in whatever direction it last thrust you in. I'm supposed to believe
like,
that his ship was dormant.
I would at least with that, I would give it the benefit of the doubt that, like, maybe before they, like, did that, before they, like, completely ran out of fuel, they're like, hey, let's, like, slow the ship down so we're not just, like, blasting through space.
So
I
then
will
they
say
still
that
would
that's a
have
little
some
bit of a
subtle
problem.
movement.
That is, like, a little bit of a problem. But compared to magically finding someone that no one else had connection to find someone she's never known before. And then, like, it might just be me between the two of us, but, like, she felt very, like, I almost hate to say bitchy, but, like, the entire time she just felt, like, completely, like, she was arrogant, and it was supported, which, like, isn't an interesting character. Because they're like,
Yeah.
oh, we, like, our entire, the Avengers, the saviors of, humanity, just lost to Thanos. And she's like, well, let's just go find him again.
Yeah, and also like the whole thing where it's like, yeah, I have other planets and other universes to save or
Yeah,
something like that.
she said that after, what's his name, Rocket?
Rocket was saying like
was
there's
like,
major
haha,
problems.
funny haircut. And she's like, sorry, I'm saving, like, every other galaxy. And it's like, calm down.
Okay.
He
Can-
made a comment about your haircut.
Yeah. Literally, okay, can I make one other comment since we're talking about like characters?
Sure.
I'm tired of the run-in joke of Ant-Man being unknown. It was a little funny when it was introduced in Infinity War, but ever since then, it's just been hammered into his character that nobody knows him. And it's supposed to be funny, but like, it just makes for the most uncomfortable scenes. Like the entirety of the diner sequence, I cringed. Because it's just like, I think Paul Rudd is doing a fantastic job with Ant-Man. And just for a little bias sake out of the way, Ant-Man is one of my favorite heroes. Like when I was growing up, I loved the comics and everything. And so like honestly, the Ant-Man movies are up there for some of my favorite Marvel films. The first one being in my top 5, which I know is kind of a weird thing, and a lot of people are like, "What's wrong with you for that?" But like, okay, I understand why they would make the joke of like nobody knows him because his movies are very contained. Usually, generally stay in the same city.
Yeah.
But like, that's what I like about them. It's not like the stake of the universe or the world or anything like that. It's a small scale operation which works with his character because he's Ant-Man.
I mean, I personally kind of liked the diner scene just because, like, like that. It's weird, but like it kind of felt like real when like there's the one like popular like celebrity that like everyone wants like photos with. Um, but then there's like the other one that's not as popular, and they're like, "Hey, could you take the photo with us?" And they're just kind of like, "Oh, okay."
Hmm.
Like to me, it felt like kind of real, or at least like for comedic purposes, it did. Um, and then just the way he's just like take the damn phone to like the little kids.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't know.
like I liked it. If anything, what I liked less, um, I'm not completely opposed to it. It was just like I feel like it was a bit of a culture shock and like a change of character that like I wasn't prepared for.
Professor Thor,
Yeah.
not Thor.
I get it. I
Professor
get
no Professor Hulk.
yeah, yeah.
Because I don't know why I
I
said
get
Thor.
it. He's like a comic book guy and like wasn't he part of like a what if universe too?
What do you mean?
Or is that a separate thing?
I don't believe so.
Anyway, like I get it's like a comic book thing and like whatnot, but like it it just feels like a completely different character.
Well, that's kind of the thing is that if you remember in Ragnarok, there was the thing where like Thor and like I always forget his name. Steve, is it?
Steve?
Like just the guy who is Thor but not Thor. I'm trying to remember his name.
Uh
Okay, regardless, like there was like that whole thing for the past two movies that they were in where they were constantly at odds with each other.
yeah.
Where like Hulk refused to come out because he lost to Thanos, and
Mhm.
like that struggle lead into being why they use the Hulkbuster.
Mhm.
But the big thing with like that character, I think it's a good development because it shows that like both understand what they want and will work together to achieve what they want. But it also turns Hulk from being like the powerhouse, just sort of like end all be all kind of member of the group, to being just kind of the goofy like essentially what Sega did to Knuckles in like Sonic Boom, where they just turned him into kind of the meathead. Well, not really the meathead because again he's like a scientist brains operation thing, but
Mhm.
like just kind of made him like a stumbling oaf. Like the whole thing when they were back in New York during the first alien invasion, and
Yeah.
being like do Hulk things, and he's like roar and like lightly punches a car.
Yeah.
Like
I thought that was funny, but like
okay, the,
I think first off, I kind of liked when he was the powerhouse and like I'm not huge into comic books. I'll never claim to be a comic book nerd. But I have to briefly summarize it. I've basically used like Spark Notes for a lot of like the comic book stories.
mm-hmm.
And I don't know why, but I really like the idea of the Hulk like never letting Bruce die, and that's kind of like why he's still there.
Mm.
Like I remember there's like one comic book where like it's the end of the world and like the end of humanity, but Bruce is still alive because anytime he tries to kill himself, the Hulk comes out and won't let him die.
Mm.
Because if he dies, so does the Hulk, and he will not let that happen. And I thought that'd be like a really cool like character idea that like they have to work together even though they're like opposed to each other. But then they just get together and it feels like the Hulk just like gets weaker from there. Like he's taken from the powerhouse to like not the powerhouse. Like it feels like he got like it was character development, but it decreased like what made him like powerful.
One thing that kind of I felt during this is they're trying to make the original Avengers seem older and like more like just like not combat ready to make it so that everybody else seems way more powerful.
Yeah.
And like, because Hulk at his peak could rip apart like half of that army by himself.
Yeah.
But of
Just
course,
by like sheer will of like he can't be killed.
of course, they need to show off like new characters and things like that. So they have like Captain Marvel fly through a fucking ship.
Yeah, after she's gone for the entire film, she comes back and just flies through a ship once and a big threat of like the operation like rain fire is just completely like wiped over.
It's just, it just, the entirety
But,
of her
like-
character just feels way too convenient, and it makes me upset.
One last note from me about Captain Marvel. It's not a good sign when I'm happy that Thanos pulled out the Power Stone to punch her in the face.
Yeah.
And going back to the Hulk real quick, I feel the same way about him the way I do about Thor. Like, I was fine with where their character was at the beginning. I don't think they should have stayed that way. Like, with Thor specifically, I would have liked if he'd made some kind of comeback, or some kind
Well,
of,
he
like...
does. He goes
not,
from being
not really
like
a
the
prominent one.
well, he goes from being like the drunk like mayor full of like regret and everything because like his friend still died and he blames himself because he didn't chop off Thanos' head when he had the chance. But like he goes through like a redemption arc of like being able to finally talk to his mother about like who he is and what's going to happen, figuring out that he's still worthy of his hammer even though like after everything that he's done. And
But
the actual fight, like he contributed a lot to the fight against Thanos if you think about
did
it.
he?
He did. He did like enough damage to the point where like other members were able to jump in, like help. Captain America was able to use his hammer for a bit too, and it was just like
That was because Thor was getting pinned down and
Well,
Thanos
yeah.
was making the same mistake that he did. What I would have liked to, I actually think I told you this when we talked about like earlier.
if the hammer
I
flew
would've
back
liked-
into Thor's hand and
If he like brought the hammer back to like bring full circle, he should have gone for the head. Because as Thanos is like pushing Stormbreaker into Thor's chest, he should have called the hammer and like hit him in the back of the head to take him out.
yeah.
I liked how they made Captain America wield it. I thought that was
Because that was a
great,
nice
and it was a
callback to
callback
Ultron.
yeah, it was a nice callback to that. I'm not complaining about that. Like I just kind of like Thor to me just really felt like he didn't feel like a main cast member to me. Like he has little like character arc in the background and like he talked to his mom, but then like it didn't really feel like anything changed. Like he was there and he was fighting, but he didn't feel like particularly special to me. Like compared to Ragnarok when he just like completely takes on like an army of like, of bad guys on a bridge just by like landing on it. Like it just kind of felt like that was like undone. Not to mention the sheer like power he got from Stormbreaker period, which we saw in Infinity War. Like it just kind of felt like it was like all for nothing. And that it was just like gone in this movie and he was still like rusty and suffered from that.
Yeah. I can see that.
Like I get that they're like phasing him out, but like with something like a Marvel movie, I felt like they should have done better than just like, oh, they're getting old.
Well, he's not exactly being phased out. He's going to be in the third Guardians movie.
Yeah, I just hope they like bring him back for like at least like one last like epic moment.
Yeah. I feel like that might be what happens in Guardians, but who knows?
Cause like, yeah,
But I think maybe we should shift gears to talk about Detective Pikachu because I mean, there's a lot of things that we could still say about Endgame.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the whole thing about like who should have really died for the Soul Stone and like more subtle things that happen throughout the movie. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Take the stairs, hate the stairs.
At I don't know. At this point, like so many other people have already talked about the movie already,
Nah.
and everybody already has their own opinions. I know that mine's very unpopular, but like, I don't know.
But no one's talked about Detective Pikachu. That came out the other day.
Yeah, and I honestly like that movie a lot more
And that's fair.
because honestly, like there's a review that I saw, and this kind of sums up how I feel about it. It's like Detective Pikachu, great video game movie or greatest video game movie. And
Yeah.
I'm going to go off for a little bit. I have never seen a video game movie be as faithful to the original source material as this film. Literally beat for beat, like it covers everything from the game that's based on. For those of you who are listening and don't know, Detective Pikachu actually was a game. It wasn't just some side story that was written for like, Hollywood. It was a 3DS game. It was sort of like a crime solving type thing, and it was fun. It was innocent, but they decided to make a movie out of it. And of course, going into this, I was incredibly like skeptical because I didn't know if a video game adaptation would be able to like a live action one would be able to capture everything that you would get from like a 2D animated one or from the game itself. This was so faithful to like this franchise that I was freaking out over little things like a light switch. The light switches in this movie look exactly like the ones from the Game Boy games. The signs and the colors and everything were palettes that were directly lifted from the DS games. There's little tiny details that of like Pokemon just going about the city. Like you'll see a Joltik just on top of like a mailbox at one point, and he's just hanging out there and doing his own thing. And that's just little details in the background of just people going around and interacting, and it's just such the movie just feels alive. The entire film just feels like there's so much going on. There's this huge city that's believable. Like the movie itself, like the location itself, if you remove the Pokemon and everything, and you showed me a picture of that city, I would believe you if you told me that it was a place I could go visit. Because it felt real. Aside from that, the actual CG for the Pokemon and for a lot of the effects were really well done. I thought that Pikachu was going to be creepy in the CGI type space, but they found a way to make like the main Pikachu, played by Ryan Reynolds, actually adorable. Like Bulbasaur, I want like this movie makes me like go back to the middle school me where it was like I wish Pokemon were real. Because there's so many like little moments where it's like, oh, the Bulbasaur is like being adorable, or you see like Klefki just flying around in the air, or like a Tangela just doing its own thing, and it's just like I would love to be in a world where I could interact with those kind of Pokemon and creatures and just have a life where that's a part of it. And that movie kind of brings out that like little kid fantasy for me, hardcore. And I love it for that.
I thought it was pretty good.
Another slow zoom there, Jake. Thank you.
Oh, you know it. You know that was intentional.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was pretty good. Like, I definitely can't say it was, like, a bad movie. Because it definitely wasn't. From, like, a narrative point of view, an aesthetic one. I will make a slight comment. that I already know is heavily biased. But not to say that it's better in any regards, but you said that like it was like really faithful and like the most faithful like video game movie.
At least that I've seen,
I
personally.
For what it's worth, I would say the Warcraft movie did that pretty well too. In terms of like accuracy, like other than like the changes they made to the story that were like
And like main characters and stuff like that.
that were like understandable. But I'm not gonna get too much into that because I know how most people hate that movie.
I thought it was great. I want to watch it again.
I liked it, and I would definitely say it's up there for me, but it's probably very biased. But I could talk about that for an entire podcast about everything I like
as
about
someone,
it. But like,
as someone who personally like, we watched it together, and I know that you're a bigger fan of Warcraft than I am,
yes,
but I loved it. I thought it was a great film.
and I'm not saying that that like, oh, like, you know, Warcraft was like a more faithful and better movie.
Oh my god, it got a 28 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
And a 32 on Metacritic.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. People did not like that movie unless you were in China. Like apparently it did super well. But I'm not saying that it's a better movie, but I do think we're starting to slowly get to that area. No. That era where like video game movies might actually be good. Minus Sonic.
I was going to say Sonic's around the corner. Don't count
Actually,
your
you
chickens.
know what? Like, sure, the Sonic looks kind of bad,
You're going to do it.
but
You're going to do it.
like in terms of just like entertainment, like the action doesn't look too terrible. It doesn't look too terrible. It kind of, it kind of feels like Quicksilver style action, which fits because it's like, he runs fast.
I'll put it this way. The movie looks great until Sonic stops moving.
Here's here's the way I would put it. Everything in the trailer, like, to me, looks pretty cool and like looks like it'd be enjoyable. I'm pretty sure those are the only things that are going to be enjoyable in the entire like 1 to 2 hour movie.
Yeah.
Like him running through the desert, like, that's cool, he's dodging explosions. Or like, oh, he's so fast that like the missiles are like,
Frozen.
stopped in time. Like, oh, he's playing drums with them, that's cool. He's, quirky and whatnot from the 90s.
Just thank God though that they're going back and changing the design.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'll put it this way. That one frame that you have of Sonic sitting in the car seat next to, like, the police, like, guy, it looks like a tiny man. It looks like a tiny man in a gross Sonic the Hedgehog cosplay.
You bring up that exact shot. I don't know why, but I fucking love it. Not because it's good, but because of how
Makes me
fucking...
so upset.
I love how fucking stupid it is, because it's just like Sonic smiling like so innocently after he had literally just said like, oh, I think I'm here to save your planet, and then the police guy's just so fucking like, why the fuck is there a blue fucking hedgehog in my passenger seat
Like,
telling me he's here to save the world?
That's like,
I love
hope
it because
that
of how
there's a
stupid it
sequence.
is, and there are very
Yeah.
few things I like in that way.
Yeah, the thing is that I hope that there's a sequence kind of like what happened in Detective Pikachu when they first see each other, where like, or like the main character is like freaking out, it's like, you can talk, or like something like that, because I love that whole thing where it's just like, you can understand me, I've been so lonely.
Oh my god. I also really liked the, put down the stapler, or I am going
to electrocute you.
And he's just
Yeah.
like, what?
He drops it and he's like, I guess he got it.
And one final...
Ryan Reynolds was fantastic as Pikachu.
Oh yeah. one final devil's advocate argument for the Sonic movie. I thought Jim Carrey was going to be a terrible pick until that final
End shot.
scene of him like as Eggman.
Yeah, I could see him being a good Eggman.
I liked it at the end. At first, it's like, oh, they're like changing up his design or whatever from like what people know him as classically. But like that
Well-
final shot felt like really like faithful and nice.
I think what they're trying to do is make it an Eggman origin story rather than a Sonic one.
Yeah, it definitely is. Which I think they made that like pretty clear by having that final shot. That final image of him like in the goggles with the mustache and bald. And like
That, I don't know, like, I feel like that's the thing that's going to be the most faithful in that movie. Seeing how, you know, they used fucking the end goal rings from those games as like portals, which I guess kind of was used in Sonic at one point, but like, I don't, Sonic doesn't make them.
Like, I assume... Here's the thing, when I first saw it, I thought it was just one of his rings. And they're like, oh, I guess it's a portal now, because, like, one game might have used them as a portal. Like, that felt, like, really weird. But, like, yeah.
Because, like, I think there were, like, bonus rings in, like, Sonic Mania or something like that did something like that. I don't know. It's been a while since I played Sonic games. But, regardless, back to Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds was a fantastic pick for Pikachu. I know a lot of people wanted it to be Danny DeVito, but I think that
I don't
Ryan
think that
Reynolds...
would've worked.
Yeah, I think Ryan Reynolds' brand of humor works way better for the film. Especially, there's one line. It's not in any of the trailers or anything, and it's probably my favorite one that he has in the movie, where he's bringing like the main kid back to the apartment, and he's just like, "Man, this is the first time I invited anyone over my apartment before. I'm not usually that kind of Pokemon."
Mm-hmm.
And like, that got me to laugh. Because it's just like, you know, sneaking in sort of the jokes that like adults would, or like, you know, just older viewers would understand. And also, I think that this movie actually has a little bit of something for everyone, even if you're not a fan of Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because those who are Pokemon fans can be like freaking out in the background when they see their favorites. Like, I mean, again,
Like
I was
you.
the one I screamed Joltik when I saw him, and that made me so happy. But there's actually like a nice coming of age story in there, as well as like an actual interesting sort of like double cross to triple cross kind of story.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it. It because it's not a complex narrative, like at all. Because again, like the game itself, you knew how it was going to end when you booted it up.
I'll say it wasn't complex, but it was definitely emotional. Like it was
yeah.
tackling subject matter that like in terms of like directly I don't have much like I haven't gone through the kinds of things that like what was his name, Tim?
Yes.
Like I haven't gone through the kind of things that like Tim has, but like I
Losing a
still felt
parent.
like I still felt the emotions, and I still felt like sad like when Pikachu almost died, or did he die?
No, he didn't. He
Yeah, when he almost died, or like
there was a sequence where the Bulbasaurs like led Tim to where Mewtwo was hiding so that Mewtwo could heal him.
like I felt like it was unclear whether he like died and was brought back, or if he just like passed out basically.
Well,
but
the thing is that, well, again, Pokemon fainted, just unable to be used.
There's cannibals in Pokemon.
Well, yeah, no, duh. There's people who eat Pokemon and stuff
there's
like
a
that, but like,
One of the first Pokemon they bring attention to is wearing the skull of its dead mother.
oh yeah, they make the joke.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, you know, it takes guts to wear the skull of your dead relatives, and it
You know
just
what?
freaks out at them.
I have to say, my favorite. It might be my favorite shot is when they're like, oh, you know, here, you can have the Cubone. You two have so much in common. It's just crying out in the field.
Yeah, and it's just like,
Yeah.
you're not a rock type or a poison type. You're lonely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
My
man,
God, that was great.
those first few minutes were fantastic. Literally, like, because when that started, I was like, oh man, are they going to catch his first starter or whatever? And it's
Nah.
like just having it be like that and be backwards. I love it.
Um, but yeah, like when Pikachu was like dying, like I kind of felt that a little bit. Or when even like when they were talking about like his dad and how like he wished he had like gone on the train to see him and like stay with him.
Yeah,
Like I've never gone through anything like that like directly, but like I still felt like the emotions that like the actors brought into it and like the even like just the ideas are just very like emotionally full.
yeah, because like I mean, his mom died, and like he lived with his grandmother after his dad went to the city, got a call saying that he disappeared
Yeah.
and presumed dead,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like that's a lot. That's heavy for a kids movie, which I mean,
Yeah.
like, there's been kids movie who's that have tackled like very like hard subjects. Like I mean, look at Inside Out, and like a lot of actually like a lot of Disney films tackle hard subjects, but like this this resonated with me because you could see the struggle that
Yeah.
Tim was going through. Like the actor that played Tim, bravo to him. I think he did a fantastic job.
Yeah. And like
And
I keep bringing it I keep bringing it back to this scene, but like I feel like it was like very like adult oriented when they brought up when they almost like killed Pikachu and like the emotions around that because like you could relate that to like losing a loved one or even just like losing a pet and like the emotions where he's literally like they're like, oh, the Bulbasaur is like they can't understand you, and he's like, but they know how I feel. Like that is a
yeah,
very like true way around like death. Like people know like how you feel just by like how you look and how you like hold yourself around it.
yeah. Um, but yeah, like the movie definitely. I would say if you go into it with no expectations, you're gonna have a great time. If you go in there expecting it to be like faithful to the games or the franchise, you'll enjoy it just as much.
Yeah.
Um, there are a couple things that threw me off,
Mm-hmm.
such as one of them is his dad just straight up being Ryan Reynolds in the end. Like, I understand what they were doing because this is for the end of the movie. Is in order to save Tim's dad, um, the like Mewtwo, when like apparently under emotional stress, like when a Pokemon and a person are under emotional stress, he can combine them. And so, in order to save his father from like being killed, he combined him with the Pikachu and wiped the Pikachu's memories, so that like it would eventually find his son and go around and try to figure out who he was.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that made sense with like the voice, and I like also the movie itself. Just the main theme is communication,
Yeah.
and I think that's really important
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot that can be learned where it's like talking to someone, making things clear, like that is key for things to work out. I mean, hell, there's a whole thing with the girl's arc with working at the news agency, and like how she says that she literally just writes like the essentially BuzzFeed articles for the website but wants to write more.
Yeah.
And like
The top 10 cutest Pokemon. They're all cute.
yeah, there's no point. It's like
Yeah.
I don't know, I just really enjoyed this film.
You know what else I really liked about the female lead?
Hmm?
Like you could tell that there was a connection between her and like the main protagonist, but it wasn't like an overtly like blatant like romantic subplot.
It was
Like they
implied though.
it was implied, but it wasn't even a subplot. It was just kind of like he had one line where he's like, "Oh, you're gonna make me fight the girl that I'm like, kind of attracted to," but like they're not even like together at the end of it, really.
Yeah, I
Which
think
like I kind of like that they're just kind of like, oh yeah, like they're just people being people. They're not like forced into being a couple because they're the main characters.
I like the line a lot though, where it was just like, "I'm not above punching a beady-eyed version of the girl that I'm interested in."
and, oh god, what was the other? Oh no, I hate that I forget it, but I loved it when he what was it? It was about like um he's really good at like being on his own at night or something like that.
Yeah.
What was
Oh
like
yeah.
the really like poor line that he had?
It was him where he's like, "I'm really good at being alone at night," and he's just like, "Swing and a miss" or something like that, like to
Yeah.
that equivalent, and it was so funny.
And it's
Oh
like,
my
have you
goodness.
ever like talked to a woman before? And Pikachu, and Pikachu was just like, was it like during the birth canal?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god, I forgot that line.
It was like that movie is so like not a kids movie in so many ways.
I love the whole caffeine addiction thing where it's like these are small decisions that I make. Like
Oh
like,
my.
oh man.
Yeah.
Seriously, okay, I don't want to give away all the jokes of this movie. If you're interested in seeing it, definitely go for it. If you have already seen it, definitely go support it again because while I don't want a sequel to this film because I feel like it's all wrapped up and good, I would love for them to take this engine, take the models, take everything they used, and make a new Pokemon movie off of that. Maybe off of the new games that are coming out or the original series.
Yeah.
Like that'd be
Hell-
so cool. Imagine
they-
like
they-
first
they could
season
just-
Pokemon.
They could just remake the animated movies into like the CGI ones if they really wanted to, and I'm sure those would be great.
I would cry when it gets to the point for the episode Bye Bye Butterfree.
Oh.
But hey,
Um.
overall, you know what I'd rate this movie? A broken marriage out of 10. Let's talk about Pro Jared.
Oh God. Can I say one last movie thing before we move on to that?
Yeah.
So we saw the coming attraction for it when we saw Detective Pikachu. But when I saw Endgame in IMAX and the Godzilla trailer came on, like I can't remember the last time I saw coming attractions and had chills throughout the entire thing.
Okay.
Like it
the
might have
new-
just been from like the pure base causing earthquakes in the local area, but like even like I don't even know if the story is going to be good for that. I don't think
care
it's
about the
going to be
story.
bad,
I
but
don't care
it
about the story.
purely looks like an amazing like an aesthetically no that's too proper a word. It looks really cool.
Okay, I'll put it this way. I don't give a shit when it comes to the stories in Godzilla, like the Godzilla franchise.
Yeah.
But they're going back to giving exactly what people like, which is just two giant monsters fucking ripping a city apart.
Like when it was Godzilla and whatever the scientific name they gave the three-headed monster, and each head bites Godzilla like on beat with the music in the background, I'm like, oh shit, like that's what I need.
And the thing is that it's not even going to be just those two. It's going to be like every single one.
There's like at least 7.
Dude, it's going to be so hype. I'm like,
And, like,
so excited to see it because I'm
and,
a
like-
closet like Godzilla fan.
Yeah, like that looks like Michael Bay got like done right. Like
Yeah.
purely just like visually stunning and like nothing else.
Yeah, literally, like the
But it
best way
doesn't look
that
like
I've
cheesy
heard,
either.
I've heard like Michael Bay movies like be described. It's visual porn at best, and I
Like-
feel like This is pure like effects, like fantasy.
And like it's being made by Legendary, which I only have like the highest respect for when it comes to like doing CGI right.
Didn't
Like,
Legendary do Detective Pikachu?
I think so. They also
Yeah,
did.
I think that they're in the open.
They did Warcraft. They've done. I think they did Pacific Rim. Like they've done all
yeah,
of
they
like
did
the
Pacific
big
Rim.
scale yeah. Or
Dude, the
technically-
first Pacific Rim was
technically
great.
It's, technically, it's ILM that like does the effects, but like they're like the company, like the producers that like do it. But yeah, like I have so much respect for them that like I think it's going to look amazing, and like the fucking cast for that movie,
It's
like
stacked.
it's stacked. It's got 11. It's got Tywin Lannister.
This
like,
is the crossover that we all wanted. It's Godzilla, Stranger Things, and fucking Game of Thrones.
Like among like other actors, but like that alone is just like amazing. Not to mention, the trailer says one king to rule them all.
Yeah.
What? Like that's
Yeah.
how you know it's going to be like a pure just like kick-ass movie.
Yeah. But
Or like,
hey,
oh my god, Zilla.
But jeez. Okay. Hey, you know who else is getting their ass kicked currently by the internet?
Holly?
Both actually. So
Yeah.
for anyone who doesn't know, in the online video game animation space,
Pro Jared did an oopsie.
we're not pew nudes. Pro Jared did an oopsie. James Charles did an oopsie. Like, we're not doing that. Skit-to-do. We're not. Wow, we are not doing that. So,
This is Pixel.
anyways, fucking Pro Jared or Jared Kabanaga, whatever. He slept with another YouTuber's wife or ex-wife. I'm not sure where they stood at that point, but apparently they were doing it for months. And his wife, Jared's wife, found out about it recently and decided to take to Twitter with it. And I'm actually going to, real quick, I'm going to pull up Twitter on my phone because I want to read the tweet, like the call-out tweet that Jared's wife, well, ex-wife Heidi, tweeted out before, like, that started this whole thing because
And,
it is biting.
And feel free to read any other tweet. Like you sent me like a couple of things about it. Like JonTron when he checked Twitter and found himself trending because Pro Jared cheated on his wife.
Yeah, like, oh man, people have had a field day with that.
Yeah,
I
it
would
has
say put
been a wild ride.
Yeah, but this is the tweet that set everything off. Is honestly, at Holly Conrad, you look very ashamed and insecure in all the nudes you sent my husband. I think it would help your chronic self-esteem issues if you started fucking men that weren't already married. And then from there, Jared blocked her on Twitter, released an official quote-unquote statement that both of them agreed on, and pretty much the internet has been ripping him apart. He's been losing subscribers like that. He originally like just hit like 1 million subs, I believe.
And he's like probably lost like last I checked was like 150,000 in like a day.
Well, right now he is down to, if I can quickly check, 857,000.
Ooh.
And it's still going down. So, yeah, that's what happens when you cheat on someone publicly, and you're both in the public eye. And the thing is that like he did even more stuff than that. There was the nudes from like fans, and his nudes as well. I don't know if you've seen them, but no. It's uncomfortable. He looks like a stick of butter that like melted in the sun a little bit.
Whew. I would describe it more as like um
I'm talking about his body, not nah.
oh, I haven't seen that much. He kind of
Oh,
looks
it's
more
don't.
like
It's
a block
bad.
of cheese left in the sun.
It's bad, and he has the joke that I've been making is that Holly cheated on. Oh, well, it helped him cheat because he looks like a pigeon.
Ooh.
But yeah, I think the best thing that came from all of this, aside from people coming forward and telling their stories about what happened with Jared, and because that takes a lot of courage, because you think you're alone with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the best thing that came from it is so Jared had a subreddit for his videos and stuff about his content. The mods removed him on it so that they could just make post after post of everyone bashing him. And then at one point, really they were like, it turns out Pro Jared cheated on his wife. You know what that means? And they switched the subreddit over to be Scott the Waz.
Yep.
The same thing happened to JonTron's Reddit, and the same thing happened to Etika's Reddit. And
Except
it's
for
just
completely
so funny.
different reasons.
Yeah, it's just so funny to
Except
me.
JonTron didn't cheat on his wife.
Yeah. Oh, the other tweet that I love is by ProZD, where he's like, "Let me tell." He's like, "It's really hard to be someone that has the word pro in their username. Let me tell you, an easy way to distinguish me from everyone else is that I don't cheat on my wife."
Wait.
I'll send you the screenshot so you can throw it in at that point, because it's so funny. I love half the tweets that have been coming from this. Oh, Jake's searching and stuff. That's cool.
So that makes a total of 2 times Ryan has called me during the podcast.
Are you serious? Ryan, I swear to G. Boy. I get it. You want to be on the podcast. Hey, you want Jake?
Frick, this late?
Jake?
Yes, sir.
Is there a way that you could record Discord?
No.
I was going to
You know what,
say.
let's just not even.
I was going to say.
Let's just have it be a thing.
I was going to add him to the call and scream at him.
Oh, that'd be great, but if we knew how to do that, we wouldn't have to record from 2 different ends.
True. Wow, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways.
Anyway, we can talk about our poor recording setup another time.
Yeah, I mean, well, people experienced it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Pro Jared has some funny memes.
Yeah, there's some quality ones floating around, like the I'm a gamer, I cheat on my wife.
Yeah. Or just like the was it failed marriage out of 10?
Oh, the clip from his review where it's like, I rate this a broken marriage out of 10.
Out of 10. Yep.
And it's just, oh man. The thing that like,
or just him being a clown.
yeah, oh man. If you look at his Instagram, all the comment sections are just clown emojis.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess like the last thing that I will say about this, I don't know if there's anything else you would want to say, but I personally grew up watching his videos. I was a huge fan of Normal Boots for the longest time. I still am. Like I still watch Peanut Butter Gamer, The Completionist, Did You Know Gaming, like that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And hell, like Pro Jared's videos, it made me like inspired to learn how to edit, because hell, there's a plug-in and play Wii ripoff video that he did, where at one point there's a joke where there's like this graphic where this guy like mashes a button, and he just screams like, what does that mean? Click all the buttons, and like a bunch of controllers like fly around on the screen. I loved that edit so much that's the reason that I wanted to like get more serious about actually putting videos together, to see if I can actually get like an effect like that. after everything that he's done, I've lost all respect for him. Like, any
Yeah.
amount of me that was like, yeah, I think his work is cool, and that I can be, inspired to work, like, more on my craft, that's gone. Like, I'm still going to do my thing, like, don't get me wrong, but he is no longer a source of inspiration.
Like, normally, I'm the kind of guy who is able to, like, separate an artist from their work, but, like, in this case, when it's about, like, your internet, like, or even just, like, your personality in general, like, it's hard to like him when you know what he's done. Because, like, if it's just, like, an actor, like, at least then you have, like, the benefit of the doubt of, like, at least, like, they can still, like, act well. But, like, when they actually put, like, who they are into, like, their work, it's just kind of, like, it gets messy.
It's, yeah, it's just, it's so hard to, like, because he's direct, like, he is his work. He's directly linked to it. Like, that's,
Yeah.
like, he is
Like,
his
even
brand.
if he's, like, playing a character, like, it's his caricature that he's
Yeah.
playing.
It's an extension of who he is.
Yeah. And people like to think that they, like, know him, and they know, like, who he is, and, like, almost think that they're, like, friends with him in a sense. Because, like, you kind of build that with your audience when you are, like, a YouTuber, streamer, or whatever. But, like, when you do something like this, it really does have, like, a terrible impact.
It's just a shitty situation. But
Yeah.
regardless, I think this is an episode.
It is our longest episode.
Not yet. It would have to be 24 minutes, I believe, to surpass the season finale.
Oh, really?
I believe so. We almost went for an hour and a half.
Did we?
I'm gonna check.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, it was an hour 25 minutes.
Oh.
So, but anyways, thank you for listening.
So close.
You're just going to keep interrupting me until we
I'm
get to
gonna
26
keep
minutes.
interrupting
And you'll
until
be
we
like, bye.
get to the 25 minutes.
Yeah, and it'll just be like, bye. So, anyways, thank you for listening to this episode of the Pixel Venture podcast. And I don't think we've said this for the past few episodes, but if you enjoy what you're listening to, for some reason, feel free to subscribe. You can hit the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload. We upload fairly consistently. It's a lot better than the SoundCloud days.
Consistently TM.
I like that. But yeah, I've been Corey,
I've been Jake.
and thank you so much for listening.
See ya.